Hello, good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you. And I would also like to give a warm welcome to the colleagues that are online and joining on the streaming. So let's recognize them as well. My name is Ruth Couto. I work for the United Nations Environment Program. I'm currently the head of the Energy and Climate Branch, but I'm also the head of the GEF and the Global Environment Facility and the GCF, the Green Climate Fund Mitigation Program in UNEP. And it's my pleasure to be here because we're going to discuss a program that was spearheaded together with all the partners that we have here with the support from the Global Environment Facility. And I had the pleasure to co-design this with the colleagues who are here, and it's been a very nice journey. So this event is organized together with the partners that we have from WRI, and Roger is here. We're going to introduce him and talk to him a little bit later. ICLEI, C40 cities, and also the regional office for West Asia and other regional offices that we have as well. We're also glad to have in the room Alok Bernal from the GEF. We're going to introduce later as well. And the name of the program that UNDP is working with us, it's called UrbanShift. And if you would like to have an opportunity to go to the website, it's shiftcities.org. And it's a wonderful resource for you who are here and for you online as well. If you haven't had the opportunity, please go ahead. So today we're going to talk about resilience in cities and how we can unlock that potential. Cities are a very important place. We live in cities, and cities contribute to greenhouse gas emissions, and cities are in the heart of the climate debate. And we see in this COP for the first time the cities coming to the blue zone. And that's wonderful. And that's extremely important. And this has to continue. And the Local Action Summit has to continue to be a core part mandated through the COP. But let's go back to our event today. As many of you are aware, cities are home to 4.2 billion people in the planet, and it's 56% of the world's population. And there is a big projection that by 2050, we're going to have 2.5 billion people living in cities additional. So it's enormous. And so there are a lot of new buildings that will have to be constructed, new infrastructure that will have to be developed. And the planet is only one. And therefore, we need to look into resilience and resources. Otherwise, we won't be able to make it. So, without further ado, we want to make this session a little bit more interactive. And I would like to ask you if this works. Let's see. So we're gonna ask an interactive question to you to just to break the ice and see how things are. So what is the percentage that you believe CO2 emissions are estimated are today attributed to cities? Not to yesterday, not tomorrow, today. Let's see. What is your thinking on that? You can actually get to the QR code. Is it working? Yeah, okay. Has any has everybody done it? Okay. Because I have to look here, look there. We're done. So you are all CT's fellows, right? So you know the answer. So we were talking to the converters. So you know it. It's absolutely right. 75% of emissions are originated from cities, and they come from three major sources of emissions: transport, buildings, and food waste. Major contributor of emissions is food waste in cities as well. So, for those of us dwelling in urban areas, we likely already have a sense of the impact of climate change on cities, whether it is extreme heat, increased flooding, droughts, fires, etc. The impacts of cities on climate change might be harder to grasp, even if we're conscious that the growth of cities means more cars, hopefully more buses, more cycling, more walking. Yeah, the inefficient buildings, so passive building designed to decrease the heating, the cooling load will be extremely important. And cities' life usually leads to high levels of consumption, and that urban expansion is encroaching on biodiversity and nature carbon sinks. So we're going to hear some examples of how green belts and circularity and peri-urban agriculture is also a solution for this issue. Okay, so I think that we have done already the slide thing, and I don't want to take too much space because we have a very lively and important panel that is going to discuss the issues and talk to you about all the issues that we need to talk about vis-a-vis resilient sponge cities. And we're going to bring some key, studies from some of the countries and the cities that are part of the Urban Shift program. And I think without further ado, I would like to call Roger from our partner, the World Resource Institute, WRI, to come to the podium and kick off this discussion. Without further ado, again, I welcome you here, and I will really look forward to this very interactive discussion. Thank you very much.
And we have the slides up, the annual report. First of all, thank you all for being here, right? I mean, there's a zillion events, so you can choose where you want to be and you're here. So thank you, right? Um, good. So I'm Roger Vandenberg. I'm from World Resources Institute. I'm leading the Ross Center for Sustainable Cities, and I'm going to very briefly. I'm going to talk about what we've done with Urban Shift, and I'm going to launch the annual report. And I really encourage you to download that report and to look at it. Annual report sounds boring, but it is not. It's very substantial, visually appealing, and you can see what Urban Shift actually is doing. So, and I myself called my team because the link was not working. So overnight, I hope it works right now. And if not, come to me. Um, so the annual report, the second annual report for the Urban Shift program. The Urban Shift platform is a major and continuous city engagement generously supported by the JEF. It's the biggest cities program globally that brings together national authorities and cities unlocking action um, unlocking climate action. And I think that link between national and local is something that really came to the forefront here at the Local Climate Action Summit, where 64 countries signed CHAMP, the Coalition for High Ambition Multi-Level Partnerships. And that means putting city central to your national climate plans is essential because we all know, and that's what we've seen on Slido, that 75% can be attributed to cities in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. Before I go to what we've done and what kind of urban shift entails, I want to show you the impact because in these conferences, sometimes the world becomes very abstract, but we are talking about real impact. This park is La Gualapil in Alajuelita in Costa Rica. Are there people from Costa Rica here? Oh, the Jeff president. um, and you see exactly the CEO of the Jeff from Costa Rica. But this park you see is now filled with trees, with places to play. Um, but that was never the case, right? A few years ago, this was barren land filled with waste, and people were not very comfortable going there. So what changed? So people like Maribel Gomez that you see on the right side of the picture, she organized under the Guapil Community Development Association a community to revitalize the park. And then together with our partner in Urban Shift, the Urban Green Economy Project, they really drove a transformation on the ground. Um, and what Urban Shift then did, bringing in um, leaders and representatives of 30 cities across Latin America to learn from it. And I think this is the crux of Urban Shift. real action with partners on the ground and sharing it with leaders and representatives in other cities. So local action, global dissemination of the learning. So I'm very proud. We don't have a drum set over here or drum kit. So I'm very proud to launch the annual report, which shows. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. Download it. Um, and I'm going to take a few minutes. It's not going to last too long. I'm going to take a few minutes to showcase what we have been doing. And it's really impressive. And that's because it's a real partnership, right? We're with so many partners together, achieving this with partners that are represented in the countries to unlock that real thing that I just gave you one example about. So this is what we did, which is around 30 events, reaching 2,300 participants. And what's interesting, the deep dive work, this capacity building, like the urban labs and the city academies, included 50% of the participants were women. So that's good. That balance is very, very powerful here. Um, what else did we did? What else did we do? We hosted our first forum, the UrbanShift Asia Forum in New Delhi in September, and we gathered around 250 participants from the countries that you see projected over there. And we had really trainings on climate finance and urban growth, really tailored to the Asian context. So both high level, discussions as well as trainings, with the practitioners. Because in the end, operations is what matters. How do you get it done? I learned in this business that cities don't learn anything from me or from Alok. We think so. Cities learn from each other, right? And this is why Urban Shift is such a powerful proposition. So we hosted 4 peer-to-peer exchanges where cities learn from other cities. And in these examples, 20 participants from Freetown and Lima, they actually went to Medellin to look at the cable car over there. Who's been in Medellin? Yeah, you've seen the cable cars, right? Very powerful how cable cars go up the hill and connect to a central spine, the central metro system. Very powerful regeneration opportunity with social infrastructure around the stops. So we brought them together. We discussed because Freetown as Lima are pursuing similar successes. So besides this in person, which is extremely important, data, 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 you can't take decisions. You can't convince your city leaders or national authorities without data. So we launched together with Cities for Forest the geospatial data dashboard, which really looks at 7 indicators around climate risk and opportunities. And it's what I found very encouraging. There was an article by the BBC and Freetown's chief heat officer, Eugenia Carbo. She actually referred to using this, that actually the city administration is using this to work in the city and to understand, the impact on heat. And that's what it's meant for. This is not to be, you know, on the internet. This is meant to understand in your city what you can do and where the biggest risks are. Um, the Urban Shift Guide to Public and Private Collaboration in Global South, led by C40 Urban Shift team. Very powerful piece. We talk a lot about public and private partnerships, but we also saw there's a gap because a lot of examples are not tailored to the global south. And this is where you all know that the arrangement between public and private and the trust and the legal context in which you drive these partnerships is completely different. So we're very happy to have this one. And it looks at 5 models for successful public-private collaboration. So yes, another QR code. We made your life very easy. So please download it. Um, and then I'm almost at the end. This is major. We're very proud on this with all the partners. The online city academy. So 8 free self-paced courses on the themes that you see presented there on nature-based solution, climate planning, climate finance. I'm not going to mention all of them. 8-1. And I think, in my deck there was one more slate. So it's translated in 6 languages. So it's really accessible for all the cities that are part of urban shift. Um, I'm getting actually just started, but this is already the end. With this, I hope you really take a look at what we're doing. You make it your advantage. You know, if you have ideas, come to us. This is a platform. We started with Jeff 6, Jeff 7. We're going towards Jeff 8, accumulating cities. I think there's now 52, 53 in total connected. 50, yeah, well, there you go, Alok. Thank you very much for your attention. And the annual report has been launched at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roger. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tariq Al Khouri. I will be the moderator for this session. I would like to thank you again for being with us. I cannot add more on what Ruth and Roger said. It's very clear how much cities are contributing to greenhouse gas emission. It's also very much clear how much cities are suffering from the impact of climate change and how much it's needed to have a resilient city. Um, Before I introduce the panel, allow me to talk to you a little bit about a city that is part of the country where we are hosted as United Nations Environment Program for the Regional Office for West Asia. It's Saida City. So I see some Lebanese friends are among us. Saida City is suffering a lot from the impact of climate change, and we noticed that there is a lot of fragmented projects and initiative here and there. So we worked with UrbanShift to have Saida under a coordinated approach to make sure that we have a roadmap that is concrete and that is really beneficial for everyone, where we combined all the stakeholders from government, from Hariri Foundation, who is leading this work, as well with us, and unfortunately did not have the chance to be with us. Um, Before we go into the depth of the discussion, Uh, if we can move to the next slide. Oh, I have it here, so I can move to the next slide. Yeah, that's me, if you didn't see me. Okay, I want to ask all the audience a very important question that will shape the discussion of this panel, and where we would really like to hear from you. In your opinion, what qualities and features do you envision in a resilient city of the future? Please scan the code. Please enter your answer, and we will use AI to analyze your answers and to present it at the end. And our colleague Aloke from Jeff, while closing the session, he will be the one who will present your answers. I think we are running a little bit out of time, so therefore I would like uh, to ask my panel to take the stage, please. Ms. Amal Nadim. Ms. Amal Nadim is the head of environment, energy, and climate change of UNDP program in Morocco. So if you can please take the stage. Also, I would like to ask Anna Ashti, maybe, sorry, who is the Under Secretary of Water Security and Sustainability, State of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Thank you, Ms. Anna. Thank you very much for being with us. We have another Anna, Miss Anna Amalia, who is a planner, Directorate of Environment in the Ministry of National Development Planning, National Development Planning Agency in Bapenas, Republic of Indonesia. I'm not sure if Mr. Yunus is with us. If he's not, I would like to. He's here? Okay. Mr. Yunus, thank you very much. You made it. We know that you had a previous event. Mr. Yunus is the Director of Global Advocacy in ICLEI, the World Secretariat, and the LGMA Focal Point. So, those are our distinguished panel. Let me start with Ms. Amal. Ms. Amal, the Urban Shift project in Morocco is being implemented by UNDP in partnership with the Moroccan government and the city of Marrakesh. How does this tri-party collaboration support concrete transformative action on the ground? If you can.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you very much for the interest you have in the Moroccan experience, and happy to share it with you. The UrbanShift program in Morocco, entitled Marrakech Sustainable City Program, has a story, and because it's a continuity of a first project we had with the municipality of Marrakech and the Department of Environment or the Department of Sustainable Development at the national level. And this first project was in 2016 in the margin of the COP28 held in Marrakech. This first project allowed us to put in place or to set up a PV solar plant that powers the electric buses of the city of Marrakech, the first electric buses in Morocco. And this first experience was really a success. And this first fruitful collaboration with the municipality of Marrakech has paved the way for the new project, the flagship UrbanShift program. Yes, due to this collaboration, we wanted to extend the first project and to be large and to have a multidimensional approach targeting beyond the electric buses, many other areas of development, such as sustainable mobility in general, sustainable public lighting, energy efficiency, renewable energy, gender mainstreaming, biodiversity conservation, waste and water management, to name few. We as Moroccan are very proud of this project because it has gone through a long and competitive process and has been selected among hundreds of proposals by the JEF. Thank you to the JEF for this collaboration and also for the support. We have been selected. The Marrakech Sustainable Project have been selected to benefit from a support of $10 million from the JEF. And why Marrakech? Marrakech is a touristic city, as you know. It's an international, it's also the image of Morocco at the international level. And Marrakech is also hosting every year many international events. And in last October, Marrakech hosted the annual meeting of the World Bank and the FME. Marrakech hosted two COPs, COP7 and COP22. And Marrakech will host also the next UrbanShift Academy. Yes, in 2024. Welcome to everyone. And yes, so Marrakech has all the ingredients and the guarantees for the success of this project. We have the political willingness. We have the previous experience and previous successful projects. We have also a community that is very open to this kind of projects. So all the ingredients for the success of this project. And this project have been developed in a participatory manner, involving all the actors and stakeholders, especially at national but also at local level, including NGOs, youth people, private sector, also local authorities, and it is fully aligned with the municipality action plan for the 5 next years. In terms of content, the project has 4 components that are complementary. The first component is about the governance aspects, which is really key to the success and to achieving the project objectives. This includes the coordination between the stakeholders. This includes also the data collection, which is very important, data collection and analysis to be sure to have real reliable data and information to inform decision making. And the second component is about the implementation of innovative and sustainable projects and activities, such as solutions for sustainable mobility, solutions for sustainable public lighting, energy efficiency in building and hotels, also waste management solutions, and conservation of biodiversity, especially the palmary of Marrakesh, which has a cultural heritage. And the third component is about the innovative financing, which is very important to develop financial mechanism to support the city mobilizing financial resources to invest in its assets and infrastructure, and also to develop business models that engage the public sector. And the fourth component, the last but not the least, in communication, the advocacy and capacity building components, which allow the capacity building for all the key actors, and also to sensitize and involve the public and the community in the action to act for the city. Uh, I will stop here. Thank you very much. And I
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I think this is very much interesting. And I take from what you have said, the successful ingredients for urban resilience at the city level are participatory process, innovation, wide stakeholder engagement, finance, communication. What did I forget?
maybe one important thing to keep in mind is that there is no one size fits all.
Yes.
It's each team has its own DNA, and we need to
Um,
deeply assess city to be able to respond properly and to leave no one behind.
So, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Hamad. Allow me to move to Miss Anna Asti. Uh, I'm so you have three Anna. So, Miss Anna, the Rio de Janeiro state is highly urbanized, and the climate change is already has a major impact on the food chain and the supply worldwide. How is your state is supporting urban and pre-urban agriculture processes to build food and climate resilience?
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here and speak a little bit about what we have been doing in Rio. It is true that Rio, 75% of the population lives in urban areas, so a little bit higher than the median of the world, but I'm talking about 13 million people. And we have more than 1,000 favelas in Rio, low income communities, 1.7 million people living in these favelas. And it's a huge, huge challenge to deal with all the needs of infrastructure that we have to develop if we want really to protect these people against extreme events. So one of the studies that we have developed with UNEP in partnership with the University of Campinas Unicamp is a study the hypothesis is urban vegetable gardens an important tool or instrument to regulate city temperature and also to create jobs and guarantee food security? That was the question that we had in mind when we started the study. And how the state, as I'm here representing the state of Rio, through its public food purchase or procurement can use this as a strategic instrument to develop sustainable, economic, and inclusive climate resilient cities. So, what we have found in the study, first we have made an analysis of the integrated food system. You know that food to arrive in the metropolitan area sometimes gets 100 or 200 kilometers from one side to another, and we live far from more than 2% or in during this route to get to the city.
As well.
Yes.
Hot weather, yeah.
Yes, it's incredible. And then we succeed with the study to get a lot of data and information. And now we are able to develop new public policies and to emphasize vegetable gardens in the process of the public procurement. So what we've seen that urban natural ecosystem can be strategic, yes, for climate regulation and to also help to reduce social inequality. We are talking about 1.7 million people living in the favelas. So the state of Rio de Janeiro has already different, I will present you some examples, but different types of gardens that are developed in these areas of the city. And also, we have seen this helps not only to create jobs, but also to access these people that lives in the favelas to access healthy food because the nutrition is really, really bad. And we have a lot of problems with sanitation. We just made the concession of sanitation in Rio de Janeiro. And now sanitation is 46% in the metropolitan area. And in 10 years, we need to achieve 90%. So it's a 5 years program in Rio. So it will be a really, really big change. So how do we also have use this really big moment in Rio that sanitation can access to drinkable water is coming, has to achieve 99% of these 13 million people. So
Oh,
this will happen in 10 years. So how can we bring food system into place? Then so what I'm going to tell you is about 2 or 3 experiences in the favela of Rocinha. I don't know if you heard about Rocinha, but it's one of the biggest favela in Brazil. It's more or less 200,000 people, and they live in a very, very, how can I say this? It's hill, and there's a beautiful ocean just in front. One of the best views you will find in Rio de Janeiro. You have the best views in the favelas. So when you go there, you come and visit with us. Views. And you see, there is something called Green Tower, which is a four floors tower. They have green vegetables all over the floors. They use light from the sun to make all the harvesting of rainfall. They use electricity is all from the sun. The students from two, it's inside one of the public schools, so more than 700 students use the tower also for education. So different types of teachers, I don't know, teacher from Portuguese, which is our language, to maths or to geography. They go and they teach using the tower, and all the fertilizer that is used for the production also comes from the meal of the school, the waste of the meal of the school. So they have a simple economy within the tower. Uh, Part of a program that the state has an initiative with the Science and Technology Secretary, so Environmental Secretary, which is that I represent with the Science and Technology Secretariat. We invested more or less 2 million in small business from the communities, from the favela of Rocinha. More or less 50,000 for 26 business received, and Rocinha now is innovation park for environmental and social. It's a living lab, and we decided that we should invest in what the community aims to develop as a business within social and environmental development. So we are now, this project is really now going to other 2 favelas, which is Alemão and Maré. and we are doing this to 3 or 4 times the budget we spent in the first place. So in Rocinha we have the town, and we have another project that is incredible. I love to present this project because in the scene we call it in Portuguese laje, because in the favela happens in the ceiling of the houses. That's where people meet, everything happens there. And then in the city, they started to build gardens for food production and sell the food. They sell the food in the favela. And it's this project that we financed also with $50,000, something like this. It's 50 ceilings from the favela. So we have also uh, areas where you have a lot of waste. We have invested to create urban gardens, urban vegetable gardens, and there is no more waste now. And they are not just, you have the culture to leave your waste there. When you change for something that people want, and they say that they have contribution from this, they can have their lettuce, their carrot from there. They really respect the place. So you have one of the most beautiful gardens in the world in a hill that is, you have the ocean just there in front of you, and you have this incredible view in this incredible garden, and it fits a lot of people from the favela. So this is a study that shows how the state can really deliver this change. And what I would like to say to you is that we have mapped, within the study, we have mapped the best way to create the best. I will not read everything, but what yes, we don't have much time. But we have mapped the best way to create the route, the logistics for these gardens, and how we can really implement a food system that is that is climate change resilient, and we can also lower a lot our emissions to transportation. So it's a very, I highly recommend the study for everyone, although for our other cities that can do the same. And we have also a QR code that I think will be presented afterwards, that it's in the website of UNEP.
Well, thank you,
Cool.
Sana. Thank you very much. Amazing. I think my next personal travel destination will be to Rio de Janeiro after I heard that. And you described the urban agriculture practices. They say win-win situation, but after I hear you, it's a 10-win situation. It's unbelievable. Thank you very much. Uh, Allow me to move to the other Miss Anna and Miss Anna Amalia. Uh, Miss Anna, I want Mapenas is leading the implementation of the GEF Indonesia Sustainable City Impact Project. So if you can please tell us about the tools and the support Mapenas is providing to the Indonesian cities to support the adaptation of the sustainable practices at the local level, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Tari. For those who hasn't know that about Bapenas. Bapenas is Ministry of Development Planning in Indonesia. So we touch upon how we can elaborate all of the planning issues. That is why in our GEF project, we try to touch upon the very fundamental things. We want to implement the holistic planning, that is how the cities can address all of the complex system, because we all know that cities is a very complex system with a maybe in the future the climate change and then pollution and also biodiversity loss, we call it triple planetary crisis, will also hamper cities, because most of Indonesia's citizen will live in also in cities, about 73%. Because, but I think it's a very similar percentage. But if we say about the number, it's will be 220 million people. It's very huge people, a lot of numbers. That is why we want to touch upon the fundamental things that cities have to know about their complex system. That is why the holistic planning is very important. And the GEF SJIP project in Indonesia, we will focus on the planning process. We want to implement the system analytic in a strategy environmental assessment. This is a very mandatory in Indonesia before we can produce or formulate the planning policy scenario for the future, for the medium and long term. We need to implement analysis in a form of strategic environmental assessment. In there, we want to implement systematic thinking or using a modeling, a system dynamic model that is used for understanding the interconnectedness about the issue in environment, in social, and also in the economy. That is why it's very important to see this. There is no more silo planning, only one sector for that is like an economic only focus on economic growth. Not like that, because we see once sector and one intervention that is will affect to the another sectors. That is why the second thing, we also want to implement the urban shift concept in our 5 cities. We have 5 cities in our project. That is big and metropolitan city: Jakarta, Palembang, Balikpapan, and Bitung, and also Palembang. This is very big cities, and also representing of various typology of the cities in Indonesia. We want to implement at least four concept, that is urban biodiversities, circular cities, resilience, and also decarbonized cities. From there, we want also implement what is the priority in intervention and investment needed, and how we can also build the management, or how to make a alternative funding from that. It is I keep saying we want to, because this project just started this year. So this is very important, how we can formulate the best thing that we can implement for the next 5 years. And of course, we understand that we in Indonesia face some challenges, like our colleagues also mentioned. There is a data reliability, and then also scarcity, and also about how the capacity of the planner, and also the one who do the analysis is very lag behind how they understand to implement the system thinking, and so on. That is why Bapenas, because in national level we also implement those and system thinking, we want to also introduce in a city level, because it is very important. We cannot do only one sectors in the front, but when we have a very trade-off in environment, we don't want to do that in our cities. And the this is, of course, this is not really, it's not easy road, I think, but uh, through the collaborative planning and also process from the beginning with all stakeholders, also CIP in Indonesia, we work collaboratively with the World Bank. um, we work together with the cities governments and also university. We start from the right now, build a big collaborative forum for implement in the near future. I think that's a example from Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's always interesting to hear from the national authorities, and thank you very much for highlighting the importance of planning, of circularities, etc. We are running a little bit over time, but I know that UNEP leave 15 minutes between sessions, so we can still 5 minutes from the buffer time. Allow me to turn to Mr. Yunus. Mr. Yunus, you are the director of a global advocacy International Council for Local Environmental Initiatives, World Secretariat, and the LGMI focal point. I would love to hear your thought on what we have heard today, what we have discussed, and learn more about the implication in terms of multi-level governance.
Thank you, Tarek. And thanks for the invitation. It's a really great pleasure to be part of this fantastic panel, as well as being a founding partner of the GEF Sustainable Cities Integrated Program. I think for me, it's particularly very exciting because Jeff is one of the first example of the response to the Paris Agreement. I remember in 2013 with the former CEO Naoko Ishii, she was saying that how can we better address urbanization, because Jeff traditionally serves MEAs. There's no MEA for cities, but she really said that the root causes we have to discuss, and this is one of the first example of the legacy, and it's expanded to so many countries over these years. I want to touch upon what we are doing in the space in the LGMA or the negotiations, what we have contributed to this Jeff project, especially on nature, plastics, and other processes, and conclude with this last initiative that was announced, Champ, in 2 minutes, probably. I know it's a challenge, but I will do my best. So this COP is the most effective COP that cities and regions are there. But cities and regions were in this space since '95, COP 1. We were one of the first three constituencies, together with business, environmental groups, and local governments. The difference is that we were always around the periphery. And we have been elevating our voice since the Paris Agreement. We have made Paris Agreement recognition of all levels of government. In Glasgow, we have inserted the notion of multi-level action. And this is the COP to really kick off the new era. And that's why, if this new era is in an urban world, it's obvious that the best action, the best support to the national governments should come through their collaboration with the local and regional governments. So on that front, the other point why it is important is this COP is that you have seen this week we will talk about youth, food, nature. This was never on the table of the negotiations. I've been in this process since 2013. This COP is the first time that these are so much integrated. And again, the reason is that we have to address the root cause. This is climate emergency action. We're not talking about the results, which is the emissions. We're talking about energy, the transformation. And again, why this scope is again important is kicked off for the first time ever a decision, loss and damage. We have direct access in the loss and damage fund, supported by the advocacy of LGMA. And in fact, it will help us better in JEF and GCF and other processes, which means now is the nations to commit to do more. And in that sense, the connectivity, this urban shift project also helped us to amplify our engagement in the biodiversity process. In Kunming, in Montreal, we were much better off with the support from this urban shift. We have taken our advocacy further. In May this year in Paris, we were in the Plastics Treaty together with Jeff and other processes. So this project again connects the dots in that sense. And last words, Champ. Why is it so important? It's not a coincidence that I'm together with these friends and from different countries. They are the champions of multi-level action. Morocco has been Marrakesh Partnership champion of that, and they were the first country to support the surge last year, the first ever urbanization in the climate space. Rio, the famous country of the Agenda 21 legacy, and you will be the next G20, and ICLE World Congress will be in June with you. And we just hosted with Mayor of Pelham and Minister of Cities the ministerial just 2 days ago. So we have huge expectations. And of course, Indonesia, the country who championed the term national appropriate mitigation actions, which evolved to NDCs. And I would like to conclude with this example, because that's always my challenge to find dialogue with our colleagues in Indonesia. And by the way, we were also very happy that we brought the G20 connections through the Delhi program this year. And now the G7, G20 connections also at the city level. That has not been the case before. But at this point, the future cities, the billions of people, will not be designed by the current mayors and governors. The mayors and governors of today only responsible for their cities. The future cities of the world are, in particular in the developing countries, are under the responsibility of ministers of planning agencies, ministers of urbanization, and ministers of environment. The new Jakarta, is it being designed by the current governor of Jakarta? No. Therefore, we have to have ministers of urbanization, ministers of environment, hand in hand with the experience and capacity and the networking power of cities to help you better that these new developments are much better than what they are today. This examples in this country, you see, Masdar is one of the best examples. And final result, I was late because I was just in the presidency's informal stock take, because Champ is fantastic at 65 countries, but it has to now feed into the negotiations. We have a huge appeal. All these countries listed here are part of CHAMP. We really need your leadership. COP28 presidency gave us a fantastic opportunity. Now it's time for us to pay back. You are kindly requested to talk to your national governments. Please, in the next hours, put a text on multi-level action. We have circulated this text to you. If you put it now, presidency can take it to the end. But you need to help them if you want continuity of this process, so that it is not just a statement of initiative, but it's an official part of the new era, which is in an urban world, which has to be multi-level action. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What a great intervention. I think I cannot add anything after this great intervention. I mean, you summarized everything, and I can add one element maybe. And as the manager of several projects funded by Jeff, without proper finance, you cannot do all this work. That's why, if you remember, we asked you a question before we invited the panel, and I think there is no one better than Jeff and our friend and colleague Aloke to to end this session, but also to present the result to see how you answered and what is, in his view, your answers means. Thank you very much for this round of applause for the great panel we have. We will conclude with Mr. Aloke. Can we put the result, please?
Thank you so much. My name is Alok Barnwal. I am the coordinator of the Sustainable Cities program of the GEF and the Urban Shift program, which we have branded. And the best part of my job is to be in a great company of the panelists of Rogier and Ruth and many other colleagues who keeps inspiring me and inspiring Jeff in terms of the role of cities in contributing to the global goals which are agreed, negotiated in the multilateral environmental agreements. So you very well articulated the evolution. I was planning to say, but I think you said so well. I don't need to say that again. And we are really proud of working with the city-based organizations, ICLE, C40, WRI, uh, in making this happen. That going beyond our sectoral mandate of responding to focal areas and convention priorities of climate, biodiversity, land degradation, chemicals, all separately, we are bringing all of them together in the cities program. And the cities program is the only integrated program at the JEF, which started in JEF 6, continued in JEF 7, and now in JEF 8. No other program has evolved in a consistent way like this. Yes, it was not easy, but it was It definitely got great help from champions like you. With the approval of Council for Jeff 8, we will be now allocating close to $500 million in grants, and we'll be supporting more than 34 cities and nearly 100 cities. But this financing is not the most important part of this program. Of course, it is important, as Tarek said. But the most important aspect of this program that we believe is the partnership that we have developed. We have brought in the best thought leaders, minds from city champions. We have brought in the best of the multilateral development banks, because we really want them to invest and look into mechanisms to support cities. And we have got great partnership with UN organizations who are really shaping the global goals for 2030, 2050, and beyond. So we are bringing all these actors together with mayors, with national governments, with state governments, to really make this transformation happen, and to ensure that what we agree in COPs we make that happen on the ground. And indeed, this is a watershed COP. I agree with you. This is the COP where probably cities have the strongest voice in all the proceedings. And I have been, as a financing mechanisms, we keep updating our leadership on how we are progressing, and I have been highlighting how cities have been at the forefront of this COP. So this is a watershed COP, but we are committed to support this. And this is just a beginning, as Roger said earlier. We remain committed. We will keep supporting. The financing is one part. I think the key aspect of our program is integrated approach, which looks beyond just climate. We bring climate, biodiversity, chemicals and waste pollution, everything together. We understand that financing is one of the biggest challenges, and one of the further sub challenge is access to direct finance for cities. How can we address that as that concern? uh, as a multilateral fund, we have to work through national governments because of the mechanisms, the instruments. But are there mechanisms where or solutions or ways where we can have direct interface with cities? This is something that we have been thinking, and we will continue engaging with people like you, Yunus, and Rogier, and others, to get ideas on how this can work. Can we think of some disruptive ideas, creating probably a subnational financing window or something like that, that can really make this happen within our financing instrument, with a better interface of cities. So I can go on and on, but I think you have already heard the key messages. Please look at the Urban Shift report. It highlights the integrated approach that we are supporting. It highlights the important role of all the actors, particularly cities and their mayors and their leaders. And we remain committed, and it is a partnership. Please come join us. Uh, Share your ideas, share your thinkings, and we will try to make this work, because we not only, we have a dual approach. We support implementation, but we also have a global partnership, a global forum or platform which enables sharing of lessons that emerge from the support or from the innovative projects, ideas that were shared today in the panel. So glad to, privileged to be coordinating such a wonderful program. And please continue engaging with us. I understand we have a map or something that I have to show, or is it this? Okay. um, yeah, 1 minute. Thanks for responding to the question that was shared with you, in terms of what qualities and features you envision in a resilient cities of the future. Uh, Great to see social justice and nature quite strongly highlighted. And I'm glad to say that this is something that at the Jeff also we evolved. And if you look at our Jeff 8 strategy, inclusion and nature is one of the top priorities. In fact, all the proposals that we have selected have nature in their project, which was very different in the Jeff 6 phase. So all projects have nature. Uh, just transition, fully agree. There are many other aspects which are not really intuitive when you think of low carbon or climate resilience, but things like accessibility, things like governance, things like bookstores, for example, or communities. These are very important elements if we really want to see a systemic transformation. We cannot just go with a solutions or technology based approach. We need to bring all these aspects together to ensure that whatever solutions we apply is applied, is accepted, or is delivering benefits for everyone in a way that is that contributes to overall well-being. So I think, as Roger said that, or Ruth said earlier, that we are all the experts are here. I don't need to convince you or explain what are these important aspects of resilience in cities. So please have a look, take photos if needed, and interpret how you think sustainable urban transformation can work, and how Jeff, as a financing mechanism of UNFCCC, Convention on Biodiversity, UNCCD, and other mechanisms, can contribute to it. We are all there listening and trying to implement as much as possible. Thank you so much for inviting me.